Hi everyone. So I'm back to provide updates on the position from last night. So last night we talked about this NZD setup, which was bearish for the economy, and I made this live stream. So this was the trade for the news. So the news was a sell setup according to the data of the news. So prior to the release of the news, I loaded in some sells, a lot of sells, and I was able to catch a great deal of the whole reaction from the news. And I was giving all of these lower objectives for price to likely revisit the consequent encroachment of this inefficiency and totally closing it out, and possibly revisiting this one, or long-term targets this liquidity below. So that was the analysis from last night, and this is currently where we are now. Now the reason I am creating this stream right now is to actually talk about the influence of fundamental analysis on picking our positions and our trend, and on technical analysis. So the other time I was saying technical analysis on its own, you trying to analyze the trend, is a lagging indicator, just like the way we consider all those additional indicators as lagging indicators when we use them in trading. So looking at price on its own it can be a lagging indicator, because you will not be abreast of what is actually going on in the economy. So as at the point of the release of this data, prior to the release of this NZD employment change and unemployment rate, price was just bullish and showing normal sign of retracement, although it was in premium. But then all of these data suggested bearishness. That's a clue of an incoming trend, possibility that this trend might not continue toward the upside, or that we might see some level of bearishness, and that exactly was what happened. This is the time of the news, if I marked that correctly. So this is the time of the news. It was 23:45 my local time. Currently it's 7 a.m. so 23:45. So this is 4-hour interval of candles, so the 23:45 is within this candle which I marked out. Now if you actually look at what is here, let's look at it from the high time frame. Start from daily before we break it down. So one of the things I explained last night was this So you could see this particular candle taking out this day's high. So this candle took out this day's high and failed to close above it, rather it closed within the range of this day. So that spells bearishness. Now the second validation, another validation to it, is the bearish news setup we had here. The bearish news setup we had, so that spells more bearishness. Now, after seeing price failing to close above the previous day high and returning back to the range, that means the next day is likely to be a bearish day. And just like I was saying in this stream, I said I'm looking for the possibility for this August 2nd candle to close as a bearish one, since we had no interest of continuing. 23:45, this is the exact execution for the news, this particular bearish candle there. So that was exactly where I entered the positions from. Here, the candle before it's like 3 minutes prior to the release of the data, that was where I started my sales from. And on seeing the position, the setup technically from high time frame also, that was more of a validation for me to hold the trade, and I held the trade overnight. And just like I was saying, this is an active pair during that night, my local time night session, which is the Asia session. So I held this trade to fill up all of these objectives for me. So this was the easiest target, number one, fill up this whole zone as a possibility. Meanwhile, I'm still looking at the prospect of the whole day closing as a bearish day, and this is the next low target, and this is the maximum target if I am to hold this trade for like a longer extent. So I hope you guys understand that when you're trading, you want to make sure you factor in your technical analysis and your fundamental analysis for you to actually have a good direction, a good clue of what the incoming buyer actually going to be. So it's like I was also saying,